Okay, perfect. That being said, calling the meeting to order. So Yvonne, go ahead and introduction for Spanish speakers and on Zoom, please.
Hi, my name's Yvonne Quintero Cañachi. I'm the interpreter and translator for the WCC. Welcome and thank you for being here. Oh my gosh, it's so good to see some of you. Awesome people, thank you for being here. Anybody that needs interpretation, please do not hesitate to come to me in the back and I'll provide you with a headset. Today it's English to Spanish and Spanish to English. Cualquier persona, por favor, que ocupe interpretación, por favor, no duden ir a la mesa de atrás y les proporciono un aparato para que escuchen de inglés a español. De hecho, también está disponible en la internet para cualquier persona que nos esté reuniendo a través de la internet. Por favor, escojan el botón, el símbolo del mundo hacia abajo de la pantalla a través de la aplicación Zoom. Y allí les dará la opción de escuchar en español y también cambiarse al inglés. Gracias por estar aquí. Estamos muy emocionados de mirar a bastantes de ustedes. We also have interpreting online via Zoom. You will look at the bottom portion of the Zoom application screen. Look for the Earth or world symbol. Click on that, and that will give you the option to hear me in Spanish, and you'll be able to toggle back to English at any time. Thank you so much. Gracias.
Thank you. And then I will, because I forget to do this every single time, one of our community members, I don't know if he's here today, gave me a really great hint for talking on the microphone. If anyone wants to ask questions, thumb on the chin and the microphone moves with you. So everyone can hear everything you have to say nice and clear. Because what happens a lot of the time is we'll start talking like this, but then slowly the microphone goes to the belly button and the belly button doesn't talk. So you want to stay up at the mouth. So just a little bit of etiquette when you're using the microphone so we can hear you. This all gets recorded and put on YouTube for the future Westsiders, of course. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and invite up our Vice Chair, Francisco Figueroa. I think he's in here somewhere. Francisco, if you could come up and do the invite to membership, please. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Welcome for assisting to the meeting. I want to make an invitation to make the member for the WCC, the foreigners in the table. And everybody is welcome. Any donation, thank you. Y para todos los de nuestra comunidad, si se quieren hacer miembros del Westside, hay una forma en la mesa de atrás para que la puedan llenar y puedan ser miembros y cualquier donación es bienvenida. Gracias.
Thank you very much, Francisco. So with that being said, moving along to our standing report. So first we'll have Commander Hurd present the Patrol Watch Report.
There you go. Okay, I need Helen to tell me if I have it right. Helen? Do I have my thumb in the correct position? Okay, I got it. Okay, so let me hand these out and then I'll start talking. I was running a little behind getting here today, so I didn't pass these out on your way in. I've got two different maps I'm going to pass out. Thank you, Heather. Sumugaisai, common spelling, in case you were wondering. Okay, so there's two different maps. She's got that one, and then I'm going to set the other one here if you want to take one and pass them around. Actually, can I steal one? Because I just realized I didn't keep one for myself. Very silly of me. Heather, can I have one of those as well? Thank you. So if you've been here in the past and you've looked at these maps, when you look at the crime map, which is the one that's more colorful, it has the yellow background on the map. That's going to look very different, and the numbers are going to look very different from the maps you've seen in the past. The reason for that is that in recent months, we have switched over. This was a federal requirement, the way we report our crimes. We used to use something called the Uniform Crime Reporting, or UCR system, that only had 8 categories of crimes. And now the feds have switched it over to be more transparent and to cover more categories of crimes, including narcotics offenses and things like that, and using a new system called NIBRS, which stands for National Incident Based Reporting System. So this month's report is going to seem a little wonky because you're not going to be able to match it up as compared to, say, last month's report. But going forward, starting with this as our first NIBRS report, we'll be able to compare apples to apples because they're very different in the way they report the crimes. The primary differences are the number of categories and the types of crimes covered, but also that for UCR, they did something called a hierarchy of crimes. So let's say, for instance, someone broke into your house and they also murdered you. That would not be good, right? But that's a burglary and a homicide. But the only thing UCR would report was the worst crime, which would be the murder. So the burglary would not have been reported. So it would only count one, where this NIBRS crime, the way they report these crimes would actually include both of those crimes. So it's a little bit more transparent. I'm giving obviously an extreme example, but that is the same for different types of crimes. When one incident happens and there's more than one crime in that incident, this new system will capture all of those things. Also, you'll notice there's the second map, which is the one I normally bring, is the narcotic and overdose calls for service map. And then I think, Mr. Bello, you'll be interested in this piece of information. It doesn't match up exactly with the NIBRS reporting. There's more things on the NIBRS report. I think this is a very good thing. The calls for service are just things that people call in that are specifically narcotics related, but this NIBRS report also contains arrests for narcotics related things, which may not have necessarily originated as a narcotics report. So it could be, say, just a traffic stop where the officer ends up finding drugs and makes an arrest for drugs. That's now going to be included on this NIBRS map that you're going to see every month. And there's other things in there that I think are a benefit to us for this type of reporting, the more details, and then also covering different types of things like gambling, narcotics, prostitution, and weapons offenses, which you were not seeing on the previous UCR maps. So that's kind of the gist for this month. Rather than go through and try and compare how this relates to other months, I just wanted to give you an overview on what you're going to see going forward. Are there any questions on that? I think it's going to be a good thing and give you a lot more information. It's a lot more calls. So for me to go through it each week to be able to speak to it intelligently to you in this room is a little bit more cumbersome. And so I might, as time goes on and you're seeing it more, kind of ask what it is that you want me to report on with regard to the map, what you're most interested in hearing about, so that we're not just spitting information at you that you're not really wanting to hear. Make sense? Okay. Does anyone have any questions about this month's map or the crimes or anything else from the police department? Thanks for having me here. Yeah. Anybody on Zoom? No? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Did it happen during this time frame? From June 10th, between June 10th and July 7th? I'll happy to look it up for you. If you have the date, time, or your address, I can look it up and look into that for you. Thank you.
Perfect. I'm going to do one more check to make sure we don't have anyone else on Zoom. I don't see any chats, any hands raised. Okay, great.
Helen, just a reminder, if you're going to ask questions or speak, can you wait for a mic, because the Zoom people can't hear you if you don't do that.
Thank you for that. So next we'll move ahead to the City of Ventura updates, and I believe the city staff will be giving this one today. Okay, Heather. Okay. I was like, I don't know who's going to come up, but it's one of them.
Thanks, Helen. This is the first time I heard of the thumb trick. So I thought that was pretty great. There was some nice levity at the beginning of the meeting. And I just moved my body at the same time. I'm Heather Sumagaisai. I serve as your public information officer, also the communications manager. Alejandra is a member of my team. She's going to jump into the next two slides. Councilmember Liz Campos shared with me on Monday night that She said, hey, can you remind everyone I wasn't able to be there this evening? She had a meeting conflict because the meeting was rescheduled for this week. So she couldn't join, but she did ask me to share what happened at council on Monday evening. So this past Monday evening, we did have a city council meeting. Our next one will be July 24th. So not this coming Monday, but the Monday following. And what the city council right now is talking about is the housing element, which relates to certain requirements related to housing, affordable housing, housing stock in the city of Ventura. And what they're also talking about is the CARP, Climate Action and Resilience Plan. And then they will also be doing a general plan update. So the CARP and the general plan update will come back to council at the July 24th meeting. If those are topics that you're interested in, you haven't missed the opportunity to be there, learn more, speak, or to hear that. And if you would like to get an update on what took place this past meeting, you can always go to YouTube and watch the recording. And then you can do that really easily from your phone too. With that, I'd like to pass it over to Alejandra. She is month 4 on our team. She is fabulous. We're so excited to have her. And she's going to walk us through our next 2 slides, and then I'll close this out quickly.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having us, you guys. I'm excited to be here. I'm also a resident here on the west side, so it's special for me to be here. So our first slide here, I just want to share an update. We have our new interim city manager. He started around the middle of June, and he will be serving on a temporary basis until we have our permanent city manager coming on. This is going to be for around a 3-month process, 3 to 4 months process. And X Games, who here has heard about X Games? Yeah, okay, that's great. That's great news. So as we have here, it's going to be July 21st through the 23rd. We'll be updating all of our social media channels with the best information that we're able to gather. Visit Ventura, downtown Ventura, and the city of Ventura. We're doing our best to mitigate all of traffic, try to keep everybody informed. Please check out our website. You can keep up to date with our social media channels with everything that we've got. And yeah, we have our website listed up here. Third, we have our summer guide. We have our recreation classes and summer camps are still open. And I'm actually doing one of the fly fishing classes. These are all for adults as well. Kids can partake as well. And there are also scholarships for eligible families. So all of that information can also be found in the activity guide, and we have our website listed here. And then lastly, I wanted to get you guys' help to take a survey that we have for the general plan update, and we have it listed here. This is to give folks an opportunity to participate in this process, get your input out there, and work together. I also brought a lot of collateral back there. One, we have a bunch of QR codes. These takes you directly to the survey. If you'd like to take some home, please do so, share them with your neighbors. The Parks and Recreation team is also hiring. We have our QR code here with a lot of information. If you have any youth or any folks that are looking to do something this summer or they're looking for jobs, we have a lot of information here. We have a fun special event notification. Some of you might have already gotten this in the mail. We also have a use Ventura code for a discount, 20% discount. Ventura code is Ventura 20, Ventura code. And then Servicios en Español. We would love everybody to be able to participate. We have a program that's been going on for about 6 months or so, where you can come to all of the council meetings and have interpretation there for you. And we have this information listed back there as well. We also have the agendas translated to Spanish, and we also have video conferencing also translated to Spanish. So you can either go directly to the council meetings or take part while you're at home. And that's it for me. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And Heather, if you'd like to close this off.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mark. Right here, speaking of the general plan, what Alejandro was just talking about is land use maps. So the last several months, the city has been in the land use phase. What land use means is that really talks about what is allowed on a piece of property. A piece of property may be deemed as residential, meaning homes, apartments, condos, townhomes can be built there. Or it may be a business zone, meaning that only commercial businesses might be allowed there on a piece of land. So that's related to land use. The city has received a bunch of feedback. We also have the GPAC. I know you guys know Pete's on the GPAC, for example. They have, I know, go Pete. Thank you very much, Pete, for being a great advocate too. But the land use maps, they have developed draft maps and they're available in two forms. And what we're asking for is if you would like to weigh in on if you have preferences on some of these draft ideas, there's two opportunities to participate. One is considered a high level feedback form. That's that orange one. Or there's a detailed one. So the high level will take you about 10 minutes. The detailed one is really technical because again, land use, kind of complex things. So do you mind hitting the next slide too? So while I keep talking, at least we can see it translated as well. But what the general plan team, the city team, community development is, I'll be sending out an email tomorrow. But you'll hear it first tonight. We would like to offer an opportunity next week on Wednesday evening. We're going to have virtual office hours and we're going to send out a Zoom link. And whether it's in English or in Spanish, if you have any questions, if you want to talk through the surveys, or if you'd like help participating in the high level or the detailed one, that'll be that opportunity to do so. I will send out those details. It's going to be next Wednesday, 6 to 8:30, and you can call in, you don't have to schedule. And then there will be someone available to help you in both English and in Spanish, walk you through that survey. And then all of that data and that feedback that we're looking for is due August 2nd. Again, the general plan update that will come back to council on July 24th, 28th, whatever our next, I think it's July 24th, our next city council meeting. That'll just be an update, nothing for adoption, nothing for formalization. It's more of, hey, we've been doing this process for the last 3 years, and this is where we're at, and this is what's coming next. Helen, do I stay up here for questions? Okay.
Do you have a phone number for next Wednesday to call in?
It'll be a Zoom link. So I
Okay.
don't have a telephone number. It'll be a Zoom link.
Okay.
And then
so-
I will send that out tomorrow. I
So-
just got the, hey, green light. I can share it all with you as a preview for tonight.
Okay, so we'll put that on our website, Facebook, any email, whatever else we can think of doing.
Yeah. Yeah, you got it.
If there's any questions on Zoom, please raise your hand or chat or just start talking. No, I think we're good on Zoom.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, it was great to come and see you. And please, if you ever have any questions, our communications team's always here to serve you. You now know 2 faces and 2 friends, and we will be popping in more regularly at our community council meetings, just as an opportunity to say hi, get to know you. And then it's an easy way to connect with us too.
Thank you very much. I wish we could have you guys come out every month. Wasn't that great? Not that we don't love hearing from our council member and Marco. Sorry, Marco. It's always great to see the staff too. Okay, so that being said, moving along to our treasurer's report from Ms. Zerbes.
As you notice, we've got it up. We've got a pretty good plan. But our basic, last month, we ended up with a nice total. $1,721.71. But after all the bills are paid and everything, we have $677.39. So everything is welcomed. And God bless you guys for coming out this heat of a day. I do have iced tea back there if you're interested. And we have a hat if you're interested in donating whatever you can, you feel like. We appreciate it all. God bless.
So some of the costs that we incur, we're a pretty lean operating machine here, but there are some costs like insurance for our board members. There's also, we pay rent to Bell Arts, of course. There's Zoom to have hybrid meetings. It's about $50 a month. We did some fundraisers earlier in the year, if you guys remember, and we raised about, I think it's over $750 for 3 families who are getting evicted. So we had some fundraising going on. We filed our taxes. That costs a little bit of money. So these are all kind of the expenses as an organization that we have, and your donations go directly to these sorts of things, but also technology updates. I can't thank Councilmember Johnson enough for donating, and now we're able to have really great high quality video, great sounding machines. If you guys were here previously or joining on Zoom, you might have realized that our technology was really, really bad. So just even small donations make a world of difference for us. And we're really grateful for anything you guys could offer. So some of the things we do on a weekly basis, we track very closely whatever's happening at the city. So we'll try to have at least one of our board members attend every city council meeting. And I know some of you maybe haven't gone to city council lately, but they're pretty long meetings. Sometimes they go until midnight. Sometimes they're a lot to take in. They're very robust meetings, but we go to every one. We keep track. We bring things up that we think should be in your guys' attention, just like the general plan updates and all that kind of good stuff. And then we also provide support as needed to the community. So when you guys want to hear about things like, for example, we had a community member who was really concerned about overdose prevention. We had someone come in and speak to that and how to avoid overdoses. We're going to have in September, someone come and talk about how to basically reentry for the country. And if you have like legal issues, basically providing free legal support. We'll also have a couple developments come in front of this membership for your guys' comment before it goes to any city hearing body. I believe McDonald's development is coming in September. I'm staring at Pete, Mr. Secretary. September, there's a development proposal for a McDonald's that you guys will hear about. So we're doing our best to track down all the information we think you guys want to hear about and bring it to you. So your donations help us do that. And I really thank you. And if you guys have been on our website or haven't been, there's a way where you can set it up to have reoccurring donations. I believe it's through PayPal. And even if it's just $5 a month, I'm happy for it. We're all very grateful. and we love seeing you guys here regardless if you donate or not. So that is my fundraising spiel. And we were going to move on to the GPAC report, but we already kind of did that. Did you have a question? That's actually kind of misspelled. However, I don't know if you guys remember, we had 3 families who were getting evicted from like basically sorry, I'm totally blanking on exactly where the apartments were, but essentially they were getting evicted because the property owner either needed to renovate or had something else going on. So it was one of those evictions where it was the landlord was causing it to happen. And they came to our board seeking support. We launched a GoFundMe campaign. We raised over $750 for each of those families. And then that is the money that we gave over to those tenants. So that's the tenant support line items. Go ahead.
Matt Bello, a resident of the Westside. Thank you for doing this budget outline. I really like it. The only thing is I'm a little bit confused because I know a lot of members are making monthly payments and I don't necessarily see that reflected in.
Yeah, so the PayPal transfers, I'm not going to lie, there's only a couple members who do that. You're actually one of them. I believe Ruth is another one and Pete's the other one who set up reoccurring donations. But those should be the PayPal. Hold on. Oh, PayPal credit. What is that? 118. So any of those PayPal credits is the transfer from those reoccurring donations. And this is kind of evolving, so we can always add more information to it, but this is our response to an inquiry from a community member asking if we can provide a little bit more information on our finances, basically.
Can we go to the next page? Sorry, thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any more questions? I'm going to run over to Zoom just in case. I didn't think that the numbers would be interesting, but I'm really glad you guys are happy to see that. Sorry. Okay, looks like there's no hands on Zoom. Any other questions before we move along to open comment period? Okay. So I had a couple folks approach me and ask them to provide comments on their behalf. So first one is going to be this Ventura County Area Agency on Aging's Live Well catalogs in Spanish and English. I'll go ahead and put this in the back after I'm done showing you guys, but it's basically a resource guide for seniors, caregivers, and people with disabilities. So there's a lot of information, like I said, in English and Spanish. Our board member, Kaye Zerbes back there can provide a little bit more information. I think this might be our only copy, but we'll work on getting you guys digital resources and more of these hard copies as well. And then next we have on this wall, you'll notice that there is some prints over there, and that is actually a fundraiser to pay for funeral services for a community member, Gilbert Mendoza. Who passed away. He was about 28 years old. So we kindly ask you could scan the QR code. I believe there's a GoFundMe and a PayPal. And once you provide donation, we welcome you to take one of the prints. So that's what's happening on that wall. And then our last comment was from the county. They're requesting support. They're actually trying to reach out to farm workers to conduct a survey, specifically farm workers who live in West Ventura, because they've reached out to all the other cities, but they've found that West Ventura has been really underreported. So I have, oh, here it is. There's a QR code to the project website. We also have this flyer in Spanish. My apologies that I couldn't print it today. But if you guys know any farm workers, employers who live on the west side, please share this resource with them so we can adequately represent our west side farm workers and agricultural workers. So those were my open comments, and I'm welcome to open up to any of you folks here or people on Zoom. Is there anyone on Zoom, Pete?
No, but Lori just messaged me, said she's having trouble trying to put a comment on Zoom. So I might get it on here, but she hasn't got anything right now.
Oh, okay. Okay, so maybe it's something on my computers then. Okay, well. Okay. Alrighty, well, we'll go ahead and move on, and we'll circle back to any comments if there's a Zoom issue. So old business. I think we have a slide for this one or a handout. Okay, so I thought this was hilarious. There's kind of a joke on this slide, just a warning. But basically there's two things that we always hear about, at least Public Works Liaison. It's always the potholes and streetlights. So here are the numbers if you guys want to report. I thought this was just a funny joke, but I just want to say I'm just kidding. Like, I know our Public Works Department has filled over 900 potholes. I just thought this was hilarious, so I put it up there. But realistically though, those are the numbers you guys should be calling if you guys have pothole issues or streetlight issues. In a previous video, I believe it was maybe 2 months ago, we did go over how to report that on the websites, on the apps. This is just, phone call, old school way of kind of turning in your potholes. So just make a note of those numbers, very important. We all don't want to drive around in the dark or hit a pothole. This is just some comic relief for us. in light of the X Games coming to Ventura. And then our city staff already let us know that the interpretation services are continuing. And we respectfully urge you guys, especially our Spanish speakers who are monolingual Spanish speakers, to use those services so we can not just keep them for city council meetings, but expand them to other committee meetings and other hearing bodies. I think that's our goal at the end of the day. So that's our old business slide. I'll let you guys, if anyone needs to take a picture of those numbers or write them down, I'll give you a minute to do so. Yeah. Here, I'll give you my microphone.
So the pothole hotline, is that also for big holes on the sidewalk? Sidewalk.
I think maybe.
Marco, oh yeah, one. I don't believe so. I think it's just potholes in the street. So I will look that up for you and see if I can find you a number before you leave.
You know, I couldn't believe that they would turn you down if you wanted to report a pavement issue, though. I would be surprised, but we can track that down and report it and add that to our list for old business. No,
Well,
Liz
I
is
think-
still at work.
Helga, I think Heather's and Alejandro are trying to find it for you right now.
Okay, perfect. Oh, do you have a comment? Okay. All right. Any other comments, questions? Going once, going twice, and no one on Zoom. Great. Okay, so that we will now move along to our formal presentations. And first up, we have SoCalGas compressor station update. So just want to clarify, this is an update on the soil remediation project. So I will hand it over to Ms. Maria Ventura.
So thank you for this opportunity to provide an update about the soil remediation project that's taking place at the compressor station. My name is Maria Ventura. I'm a Senior Public Affairs Manager, and I represent SoCalGas here throughout Ventura County, and it's a pleasure to be here, see many familiar faces, so thanks again. If I can go to the first, next slide, please. Just a couple of quick facts. The soil remediation project is separate and apart from the compressor modernization project. This work and this project began in May, and it consisted about removing a couple of buildings. We received all the required and necessary permits from the city of Ventura, also Department of Toxic Controlled Substances, and also the local air pollution control district. The plan is, and what it consists of, and I'll show you in the next slide, but I'll still stay here for a little bit. There were areas of the property that had some historically contaminated soil. We purchased the property a little over 100 years ago, and this soil had the contaminations at that time. We took the opportunity to demolish a couple of buildings, and actually we can show the next slide. I think it will really help. And if you see that area where it's green, that's where the contaminated soil is located. So once those buildings were demolished, and that took place in May, we went ahead and started extracting out the contaminated soil. We haul it off, and then we bring in new soil and replace in that area. You also will see the 4 yellow squares. What those indicate are air monitors that are monitoring different things like vapor emissions, dust, and I know I'm going to miss one right now. In that over at the compressor station, we did have lengthy and extensive conversations with the Ventura Unified School District. We explained the scope of the work, what the schedule would look like, and we came to agreement. The school district asked us if we could hold off on the portion of the project that where we were removing the soil. We said absolutely, we'd be more than happy to do so. So that work, as I said, began when the school children left for the summer break, and we will conclude that work before they return to school. So that was part of that agreement. And go to the next slide, please. And part of our effort to provide transparent communication with the community is we went ahead and installed those air monitors that do control for those different measures. And also the public, and you'll see a couple of those websites right there. You can access it in English and also access it in Spanish. And for those of you that, you can go to the next slide. I think I'll illustrate that, please. This is what you'll see when you access a dashboard. Really quick, just easy to determine, is it above thresholds? Is it below thresholds? Twice daily, we have a third party that's reviewing the data from those air monitors. So somebody who just wants a quick snapshot, well, what did yesterday's kind of report out look like? That's the information they'll see. For those of you, and I know I include myself in that category, who like to geek out a little bit with the data sets, there's more detailed information in there. You can access that through that website. So trying to make it also easy to use, but at the same time, provide that transparent information to provide those resources for folks who may actually want to see a little bit more in-depth information. Next slide, please. Okay. So that at a high level provides an update about the soil remediation project. Again, we wanted to go ahead and remedy that property because the buildings have been demolished, and it was an opportunity for us to go ahead and do that and to keep that property in a better condition. So something we're working on. I also did want to take the opportunity to provide some different additional information about our customer assistance programs. Some residents may have some challenges paying their natural gas bill. So I wanted to provide some information about our gas assistance fund. And what this fund consists of is for income qualified customers who may have a challenge paying their natural gas bill. We can provide up to a $400 grant, a one-time grant. If there's a resident in that property who happens to be 55 and older, it can go up to $500. This is a partnership that we have with the United Way of Los Angeles. We do have two local partners that are very nearby here, Catholic Charities of Ventura and Salvation Army of Ventura. So if there were a resident or if you knew somebody who could benefit from this program, I highly encourage you to direct them to this resource, because we do still have a pot about $3 million. And we really would like to find those residents that could benefit from that support. Next slide, please. And here I listed a couple of more programs. I did also forward this this deck to the Westside Community Coalition here to have that additional information. One of the first programs I always like to share with residents, and again, this may be impact yourself personally, it may impact somebody that you know, having a challenging time maybe paying your natural gas bills. There is the CARE program, and that CARE program provides a discount to your monthly bill. And for example, if you're a family of 4 and your combined income is $60,000 or less, you would qualify for that program. You can go online, it has the website there, or you can call our customer call center and they can help walk you through. Another option is we also have a SoCalGas payment office. It's located in Oxnard. You could walk in and they can also help support you applying through that program. Couple other things for those of us who may have some medical conditions that require us to maintain a certain temperature in our home. We have medical baseline. It would allow you to have your natural gas rate be lower. To help accommodate that. It does require a doctor to sign up a form. But again, those are for some of our neighbors who happen to have medical conditions. That's a really good program for them to be aware of. And then the other program I'll talk about is the Energy Savings Assistance Program. What that consists of is we have a third-party contractors. They'll go to your home, inspect your property. Are there efficiencies, energy efficiencies that maybe we can implement free of charge to your home? For example, some of them may be low shower heads, low flow shower heads, could be a new clothes washer, could be caulking around your windows. It could be a couple different things. So again, for that program, I'd recommend you give them a phone call and they could see if you qualify, and also we could schedule an appointment to have someone come visit your home. I also did want to mention, if you have any questions or concerns, the next slide says questions or concerns, please feel free to ask me here, I also did bring some of these postcards. They have our QR code. It's our commitment to the community. We want to be able to be transparent, communicate. So if there's questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to reach out to us. I also did bring our project newsletter. Several of you probably do receive this in the mail or see them in social media post. You can also sign up to receive them electronically. And that's in that, I think it's the night of the QR codes. Our QR code where you can sign up for the newsletter is here as well. I also did want to mention one last thing. Hablo español, so ustedes tienen cualquier duda, pregunta, por favor, comuníquense conmigo y con gusto les contestaré. And that concludes my presentation.
Tomas Rebecki with Westside Clean Air Coalition and Food and Water Watch. My first question is just going back to the beginning of this whole soil cleanup and when you guys released the project. One, why did you not do an EIR on this project even after the community requested it, including the WCC, several other groups? We sent in a letter. When we commented on the remedial action work plan, we requested an EIR. We requested other methods to make this cleanup even safer. SoCalGas ignored all that, did not want to do the EIR, and actually filed for an exemption from the EIR, the environmental impact report, and didn't notify the community about that exemption. And we lost in a 30-day window. We missed the 30-day window to go against that exemption. So we missed our chance to actually get an EIR on this project. Even though you say it's not part of the same project, you've mentioned in previous applications that this soil need to be remediated to expand this compressor. So we felt, and a lot of environmental attorneys and scientists felt, that you guys are piecemealing this project into little pieces, so you don't have to do a full EIR like you should be doing, and which you're finally being required to do by the PUC for the expansion. So why did you not do the EIR, and why did you not notify the community about the exemption?
I think you're talking about why not do an EIR, and you actually addressed that comment. Thank you, Tomas, for being here tonight. As part of the next step with the modernization project, again, I'm here tonight to talk about the soil remediation project, but to answer your question about the modernization project, we are going through, the CPUC did implement a new process, the
Because we demanded it.
if I may conclude my thought, thank you, a CPCN application, and that requires a SQL component to it. So it's exactly what the community was asking for. So it's a win. It's a good thing. It's a great thing. No, thank you. So I don't know if you moderate it or you want me to moderate it, however it works. So.
Hi, my name is Tim Nafziger. I want to come back to the question that Tomas asked that you didn't really answer, is why was there no EIR for the project that you're talking about? The soil remediation, why was there no environmental impact review? And why did you not, because we're seeing here this commitment to the community, but that would imply like communication with the community. And why was, one, there no EIR for the soil remediation, and two, why did you not notify the community when you filed for an exemption for the soil remediation project?
I'm going to ask my colleague Heather if she wants to, and I'm going to walk over the microphone to you. You can address that. She can do that more eloquently than I can.
Good evening. To best answer that question that I can, so when we applied to do the soil remediation project with the departments, with DTSC, they were made aware of the modernization project, if you look at our application and the raw for it. And they, on their own, called it exempt. You know, we can't make. No, agencies make their own CEQA findings.
Tomas. Yeah,
so it was through that permit process that's how that happened. We can't force an agency to complete the CEQA process, right? It's up to the public agencies to do that. And through everybody's feedback, we were fortunate enough to have the GO, and now we have an avenue with the CPUC for the modernization project.
And I wanted to mention, I will, very quietly, because I don't want to interrupt your meeting, I'll pass these out, so folks also have the contact information. But again, thank you for your time. It's a pleasure being here.
Very much. And then next up, we will have a presentation on the grant-funded programs offered to Westside residents. So this will be a presentation by the Westside Community Development Corporation, and it'll be information about activities, programs, and resources that are offered to Westside residents. So our very own board member, Yvonne Quinterorea, will be presenting this one. Thank you. Do you want to do it?
Gonna probably go pretty quickly. Okay. Hi, thank you. I'm going to ask anybody that's willing to wear a little hat. It'll make sense at the end. There will be something in it. Just give us a few minutes. Thank you so much. Marco is getting the presentation up on this slide for us. Well, thank you for taking us up on the hats. We're just trying to promote Taco Week, the second week in September, and it's actually falls in line with Independence Day in Mexico, not May the 5th. And at the end of the presentation, whoever has the WCC on the inside of their tiny hat gets a $30 Starbucks gift card donated by one of our board members. Okay, thank you. So the Westside Community Development Corporation is a community-based development organization here on the Avenue. We have about 8 different programs. Marco? Oh, thank you, Marco. We currently have a pilot program where we collaborate with youth and other artists here in town. Thank you. And these projects are led by 2 artists, Kyle Navarro and Mr. Josh Burns. We take 10 youth at a time so that each youth has enough attention, has enough learning opportunity, mentorship with that artist. It's an 8-week program. It's no cost to the person, the student attending the youth. We empower teens by instilling success, by instilling interest and hopefully later on success in trades. We also try to help them learn life skills that oftentimes can parlay later in life to either careers or starting their own business, etc. En español, perdón, tenemos un programa de arte en donde emparejamos a los niños con 2 artistas aquí en la comunidad y les enseñan cómo usar los botes de pintura aerosol, perdón, en diferentes proyectos y colaboraciones aquí en la ciudad. La más cercana se está completando en la esquina de la Ramona y la Sheridan Way. Y es completamente gratuito para los 10 estudiantes que participan en este programa de 8 semanas. Gracias. Ms. Davalos asked the ages of the youth accepted, and it's about secondary and up, not for primary right now. So anybody that knows Jackie Pierce can contact Jackie Pierce at the COC. However, you can also contact any of your board members or even our email, our WCC Gmail, and or stop by the office. Remember, we're behind Vons in between the police department and the laundromat with all the flyers on the window. That's the easiest way to find us. If our lights are on, it means someone is in there, and you just knock on that door and we'll come out and help you. Perdón. Ustedes, cualquier persona que conozcan a miembros de la mesa directiva o de hecho también en nuestra oficina, pueden encontrarnos ahí en la oficina atrás de la Vons, entre el departamento de policía y su oficina auxiliar más bien, y la lavandería. Les ayudaremos a ponerse en contacto con la señora encargada. También pueden hablar con María Dávalos y recuerden de que si las luces están prendidas ahí en la oficina, quiere decir que hay alguien adentro. Ustedes tocan hasta que alguien salga y les ayude. Gracias. Sí. Sí. Ms. Davalos asks, how are you disseminating this information to our neighbors? Because frankly, I haven't heard of this. And I will be upfront. I'm actually the program officer for the California Green Business Network here on the West End, serving BIPOC businesses. If anyone is interested, please let me know. I mainly deal with that. I do know that the way we have been disseminating the information is through social media outlets. Individuals will text each other. We're thinking possibly of having a newsletter in the future. WCDC is not only on Facebook, but we're on Instagram, and we have a website. We also have a monthly newsletter. And we only like to email this once a month to not overwhelm our list participants. And we try to also disseminate that information to people or families that we know are in need of this type of a program. And that generally is done directly. We already have waiting lists, but do not let that stop you from contacting the office to participate in the program. Te voy a decir la verdad. Tú sabes que soy la coordinadora del programa de negocios ecológicos para los negocios en minorías aquí en la avenida. Y en realidad no tengo los detalles completamente, pero esto es lo que sé. Difundimos la información a través de nuestros medios sociales. WCDC está en la página Facebook, en la página Instagram, y también tenemos un sitio en la internet, westsideventura.com. Y de hecho también difundimos información entre nosotros. En el futuro, si hay interés, quisiéramos quizás proporcionar un boletín en áreas bastante visitadas aquí en el oeste para que nuestra gente que no tenga acceso a la internet también puedan tener, aunque sea la oportunidad de recibir esa información. Pero actualmente, sí, gracias, gracias por hacer la pregunta, María. No duden en ponerse en contacto, tenemos listas de espera, pero eso no debe de prohibir que todo niño que esté interesado tenga la oportunidad. Sin embargo, las clases de 8 semanas solo inscribimos a 10 jóvenes a la vez, pero de una manera les ayudaremos. One of our proudest programs, I think that a lot of us just get so giddy and just show up every time for it. And by the way, it's an all volunteer program, except for maybe 1 or 2, consistently people that work it. But everyone there that shows up is a volunteer. including your board members and including the WCDC board members. We hold this program biannually on Bell Way, where you see the huge, almost football-sized dumpsters, the teal dumpsters that look like the library. That's where we have this event. And we accept most trash except for hazardous waste. We also disseminate that information and try to provide that info for those events that are held through the city. If you ever need help signing up for that, or you don't have access to the internet, you can have access in our office. Tenemos un programa el cual es un orgullo grandísimo, ya que muchísima gente le encanta asistir, porque así podemos limpiar la basura, quizás ayudarle a un vecino a tirar un sillón, o quizá, y de hecho también a veces tenemos voluntarios que proporcionan vehículos para poder cargar estos artículos grandísimos. Lo único que no podemos recibir son productos o materiales tóxicos y que tengan contaminación, ya que la ciudad tiene procesos especiales y eventos especiales para recibir este tipo de producto. También se difundirá esa información. Es un evento que limpia la basura, limpia la graffiti, limpiamos el chicle que se seca, andamos allá de rodillas limpiando a donde nuestra agua entra y hay mucha oportunidad de servir de esa manera y cada sábado, y lo hacemos 2 veces al año. Toda basura que ustedes tengan y la quieran traer, no se les cobra por tirarla, de las 9 a las 12 cuando está este programa abierto. Thank you. Tenemos el programa Adopt a Block por su nombre en inglés, pero es en español adoptar a una cuadra. Este evento, sin duda, al menos que llueva, lo tenemos cada sábado. Y perdón, el último solamente es unas 2 veces al año, ya que allí proporcionamos los basureros para que tiren gratis. Y nos encontramos los sábados una vez al mes con este programa de adoptar a su cuadra en la iglesia Two Trees o en el Kellogg Park, y bastantes organizaciones comunitarias participan con este programa. Es proporcionado y patrocinado por la compañía ERA, y estamos bastante agradecidos por ese apoyo que nos proporciona esta compañía. De hecho, también tenemos una colaboración con la iglesia Two Trees o Dos Árboles, que se encuentra cerca de nuestra oficina, el WCC y nuestra oficina, una colaboración para poder llevar a cabo este programa. Adopt a Block is held once a month on a Saturday. We meet at Two Trees or Kellogg Park. Many other community organizations participate in this. It's a ton of fun. We help clean up maybe gum that has dried on the sidewalks. We'll clean up the rain gutters because we really care about our water and the water that we all use. We oftentimes will repair things. We have people that will spray paint grapes, and they look new again. But mainly we really concentrate on picking up that trash that tends to be left behind or is blown by the wind. Thank you. This program is sponsored by Era Energy. They're a huge supporter, and we appreciate that because almost any organization, no matter what size, needs that type of support to be able to operate. We have a short video to share with you about our last cleanup event. Un video pequeño que queremos compartir de este programa que tenemos una vez al mes. Empezamos en la iglesia Two Trees, que se encuentra casi en la esquina de la calle Main y la avenida. Dígame. Sí. Ujú. Ujú. Mhm. Ms. Davalos has a concern and a question. Why isn't the city taking care of our trees whose branches are falling down or getting in the way perhaps of somebody in a wheelchair, somebody that's walking, a stroller? Because when we had that program, taking care of these trees and maintaining, especially its safety, pruning them, maintaining the mulch, weeding them, we took care of it in its entirety. And frankly, we have some volunteers. It would be Mr. and Mrs. Bollicky, a retired teacher and Jackie's mom, who help take care of the trees now to the best of their abilities. I know that we can put a request into the city. And I also, however, know that they're very, they must be very busy. And that's really the short answer. We do what we can if it's something simple, and help when we can, even if it hasn't gotten done. En corto, María, creo de que cuando teníamos el programa, sí, entiendo también de que estos árboles siempre estaban mantenidos y no había ramas que quizás alguien se pueda tropezar, ya sea en una carriola, caminando, silla de rueda, bicicleta, ¿verdad? Porque la seguridad del peatón es lo más importante. Estoy de acuerdo contigo que no se está haciendo como antes el trabajo. Tenemos a la mamá y el papá de la señora Pierce, la señora Bollicky y su esposo, que una vez al mes, cuando tenemos este programa Adopto Block, ellos van y se encargan de 1 o 2 cuadras y están manteniendo los árboles lo mejor que pueden. Pero como sabes, son personas casi de la tercera edad y hacen lo que pueden. Pero, sí. Bueno, en realidad, no sé exactamente por qué no lo ha recibido, o quizás varias de ustedes que sí lo necesiten, no lo han recibido personalmente, pero si quieren, yo ya sé el número de teléfono de María, pero cualquier otra persona que me quiera proporcionar su número de teléfono celular, por favor no duden en dejarlo con nosotros y le pedimos a la persona que ya está difundiendo esta información que también incluyan a ustedes. Sin embargo, recuerda que hemos tenido un cambio en la oficina y aunque todavía no se completa el año, están averiguando el nuevo proceso, ¿no? Y cómo se va a manejar todo. Estoy de acuerdo que la información debe de ser para todos, no nada más para unos. Ms. Davalos was referring specifically to some of the programs that we run out of WCDC. While they're in collaboration with WCDC, they're not always completely run by WCDC or even our resources there, although we provide a great deal of assistance. I can't specifically speak to the people that disseminate the information for these programs and why they're not getting to Ms. Davalos personally. However, I can offer for anybody to leave their cell phone, and I will make sure that you get on those lists. I know that sometimes it's easier. I mean, who really is glued to their phone 24 hours a day, right? And so we also want the information to get to everyone. This information and these programs are not for a limited number of people. They are for everyone, and that is a very valid concern that Ms. Davalos brought up. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Barbara Brown with the Ventura Tree Alliance. So I did want to answer the question about the trees. I don't speak Spanish very well. I know
That's
it's
fine. I'll go
Los
ahead and
Árboles, but-
if you can give me about 3 to 5 sentences at a time max,
Okay.
that would be great.
Well, I'll just make my point. I think we
Perfect.
can do it in
Thank
one
you.
sentence. The city has 30,000 trees. It takes about 4 hours to trim a tree. So you can imagine that they can't get to every tree. You can call into the city and tell them a tree needs to be fixed and they'll come out when they can. But if you see a tree that needs water, just water it. Just, you know, or if you see a limb that's dangerous, just cut it. You know, I mean, I wouldn't get up in a tree. I wouldn't do anything dangerous, but
Okay.
you know, common sense.
Thank you, ma'am. Can you repeat your name? Thank you. Yo soy la señora Barbara Brown, que está aquí atrás enfrente del señor Bello y es la encargada del mantenimiento de los árboles en la ciudad de Ventura. Para un poco de contexto, tenemos un promedio de 30,000 árboles en la ciudad de Ventura y nos tardamos 4 horas para mantener uno de esos árboles. Trabajamos lo más eficaz y pronto posible. Sin embargo, sabemos de que no todo el tiempo alcanzamos a mantener todos los árboles y por favor les sugiero que cuando miren un árbol seco, le agreguen agua. Si miran una rama tirada y la pueden recoger o tirar o hacerla a un lado para la seguridad de todos, les pedimos que nos ayuden, aunque intentamos de mantener y asistir a estas quejas o preocupamientos que recibimos en la ciudad, no lo podemos hacer tan rápido como quisiéramos. Entonces, no duden en llamar a la ciudad y registrar esta queja, ya sea a través de correo electrónico, teléfono, y si no pueden o no quieren hacerla de esa manera, van a la oficina y allí nos quejamos por ustedes. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Brown. Thank you. Tengo un comentario breve
Okay, great.
para las
So,
personas en Zoom.
perfect. Thank you. So, Ms. Amy Fonzo said ERA is always happy to support all of your efforts to beautify the avenue. ERA employees also have our own street cleanup twice a year further up the avenue. And that's it for Zoom.
Un comentario a través de la internet de la señora Amy Fonzi, nuestra representante de la compañía ERA, nos indica a nosotros aquí siempre estamos dispuestos para proporcionar información y apoyo en cualquier manera. De hecho, tenemos 2 eventos al año en los cuales nuestros empleados dan su tiempo completamente gratis y ayudan a limpiar en la comunidad. Pónganse en contacto con nosotros si quisieran más información. Gracias. Question in the audience?
Yes, I'm talking about the street cleaning. The street cleaning is totally ineffective. I see the guy just walking down in the middle and just cleans in the middle while all the cars are parked. And on the side is all the trash. So I'm out there, an old lady has to clean the streets, the sidewalk and everything else. And in other cities, they have it organized so nobody can park on that side during a certain day and you really clean the street. So I don't know, I know it's a lot of work to organize that, but how could we do that?
Yeah, you know,
Thank you.
honestly, and I will respond to that comment. That is an issue that's been brought up at the Westside Community Council multiple times. And we have a couple city staff here that we can that we can advocate to, but I think really we're gonna need to maybe come during a public comment period during a city council meeting or work with Public Works. It seems like there needs to be an act of God to get a sign out on the avenue so we can have effective street cleaning. So I feel your frustration. I think there's been other people in this room who have said the very same thing. So 100% agree. City staff are looking at you right now. It is kind of goofy that people park, on, where they're supposed to park, and then the street cleaner can't get to it. And we don't have a way of telling people not to park when the street cleaner comes, because we don't really have an idea of when it comes, I guess. At least I haven't really seen it, but if there's a way we could coordinate with the council and our community members so we can get that taken care of, that'd be great.
De tercera edad y se le dificulta bastante de salir y limpiar después que las barredoras deberían de haber limpiado bien desde un principio. Comenta de que otras ciudades tienen un programa.
Hearing of this the first time, I do public information and communications, so I may not be the department. If you have called the city, it just might not reach me. It's not necessarily my day-to-day. No. What I mean is, what I do at the city, I do communications. Yeah, and she lives here in Westside, on the west side here, but the point is, if you have a concern like that related to trees, for example, or if it's related to parking problems, if the city can help, or if there is a way to make sure that your concern or your question is answered, I would first start with, and if you have done this, please, I apologize if you've done this, call the city. If you call our main number, what I was giving to Pete, our main number is 654-7800. We now answer that phone during normal business hours every single day that we're open, and it's answered in English and Spanish. What we can do is we can make sure that you're directed to the right folks and then connect you to the right resources. And then if that's a request or a concern that we can help with, that's where we can get it logged in the system. So. Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, actually, Helen mentioned most of what I was going to say, but I'm just going to say this has been a topic that we've been talking about for years, and it's also been coupled with the issue of long-term parking on our city streets, especially on the avenue. We have more cars parked in front of homes on the avenue than other neighborhoods. Where I grew up in the college area in the east side, it's very common for there not to be any cars in front of the homes I grew up in, right? So the street cleaning issue is not as big of an issue there. So I think rather than putting it on Heather, we've tried this with former council members, but we need a policy consideration where they're putting up signage that says, every first Friday we have street cleaning and cars need to be removed. And then the city needs to tie together with towing companies to remove the cars that stick around. That happens all over the country, all over the state. And we've been saying it for years. We weren't able to make progress with the former council member on that topic, but we do have a new council member right now. And she has every right to do a policy consideration if she'd like to do one. And I think we should ask her to do that because I think she would be receptive to that. So let's try that. And thank you, Heather. But I think it's a lot. I don't think that you could accomplish everything that we need to accomplish in this issue. So, well, I don't know if she could get signs up without an actual vote from the council. So, but that's what we need to do.
One resource too, I don't know if you've already, so if you have, might not be an option. Public Works, you might start with, for example, Helen, if you wanted to potentially, we could connect you to Phil Nelson and you could talk to Public Works and start there and understanding if this has been done, then okay, bad idea. But you might want to start there to see, hey, what ability does the city have to do? Is this within its jurisdiction? Is this an easy thing to accomplish? And then if by him providing that information, you'll have the paths of which one you have to take. Does it mean you have to do a policy consideration? Does it mean our Muni code might need to be rewritten? Does it mean it's printing it's signage with the penal code? Those are the type of things where I'd start with Public Works. That involve PD at all, or would that just be Public Works? Yeah, I'd start with Public Works, let them help give you some information, and then you know the best to take. And then that could be just a small meeting. You can come to City Hall, they can come out here.
Thank you. Oh, Francisco, thank you.
Thank you.
Here's another thing. We were talking about the vendors, and that obviously seems to have improved. But there are these people who have carts and they sell colorful products on the street, and they're ringing the bells at all times, and those church bells they ring. And I'm wondering, what are they selling? Do they have a license? They're selling the sugar water to the kids with food coloring. That's very bad for the brain. And who gives them permission to do that?
I can't speak on behalf of the code enforcement department, but a lot of the times if they don't have a health permit posted on their cart or on whatever structure they're selling from, then they're probably operating illegally. And that's either a code compliance or maybe a police department issue for enforcement. Commander Hurd's in the back, so you can maybe talk to her afterwards if that's their jurisdiction. But if not, then I would suggest following up with code compliance and at least registering that complaint with the city. It's a health permit is what it is. Yeah. So all food suppliers and drink and beverage, all that kind of stuff have to have that permit posted for people.
And they're very rude to you.
Yeah.
They don't think, oh, they're fine. I have not seen a certificate on their thing, but the main concern is the health of our future children in the schools who cannot perform because they eat this red, colorful, I call it garbage, but it's not food and it's not healthy. And if they have no permit, I don't think they should be allowed to do that.
I hear you. So maybe, yeah, check with Commander Hurd and then code of compliance, I suspect is your best bet. I'm going to turn it back to Yvonne. I think she just has a couple more slides and then we'll finish up with the second presentation. One comment? Oh, okay. One comment on Zoom. The street sweeper method used in Santa Barbara, done one side of the street at a time. And that was from Bert Handy.
Marco, can you go on? Thank you. We just recently held a collaboration with American Pacific Mortgage that's just right here on this corner in the Old Avenue Hardware building. In addition to a mortgage company, they actually also have a nonprofit, Ventura Inc., where every single closing sale, they donate $250, and it all goes to improve projects here in the city. And we'll have some collaborations coming up. One of these collaborations was a teen literacy financial program or workshop rather. It was held over the course of 2 days in the evenings. And it was presented by the owners, Greg and Sarah Abrams at American Pacific Mortgage. We had 7 youth from the Avenue participate in this program, where hopefully they walked away with valuable financial literacy skills that typically aren't taught in schools. And including, for example, budgeting, banking and saving, credit control, starting a business, and more. Acabamos de tener un taller en colaboración con la compañía de préstamos de hipoteca, American Pacific Mortgage, que también tiene una compañía que se llama Yo amo al condado de Ventura, en inglés I love VC, y proporcionan de cada venta $250 hacia una reserva que va para proporcionar proyectos de mejoramiento visual aquí en la comunidad. Cualquier pregunta también la pueden hacer con ellos. Acabamos un foro, una colaboración completamente gratuita para 7 jóvenes de aquí en la avenida, en donde se les proporcionó estrategias muy valuables para enseñar a guardar su dinero, para enseñarse a balancear su cuenta de ahorros o cheques, para enseñarse quizás cómo abrir una cuenta en un banco, o por ejemplo, cómo controlar y usar el crédito responsablemente. Y en el futuro, estos diferentes temas y estrategias, esperamos que también les anime a los niños quizás para abrir sus negocios o continuar en este tema. Y sabemos de que desafortunadamente esto ya no se enseña en las escuelas y es algo que sí se necesita. Generalmente no se enseña en las escuelas, sin embargo, estoy segura que alguien sí lo hace. Dime. Bueno, ya empezó. Mira, fue el junio 19 y 21 que hace como unos 3 meses. Es lo mismo, lo difunde la directora ejecutiva, que es la señora Kendra González. Y yo puedo tomar tu número de teléfono para pedirles que yo personalmente te mando la información más bien. We have, what is it? Oh, okay. So, nos dice Helen que vamos a tener otro taller y lo vamos a tener aquí en Bell Arts, no en el negocio, para que sea más accesible, ¿no? Y más tarde durante este año. Sí, cierto, pero queríamos presentarlo porque habrá otra oportunidad que participen los niños que no participaron esta última vez. Es el propósito. Ms. Davalos was indicating, which is also a valid point, when are these workshops held? Because we don't hear about them. Something I did mention earlier is that many of you may not know, but we've had a change in executive director. And our new executive director is Kendra Gonzalez. She wasn't able to be here tonight, but she sends a huge hello. You can get in contact with her via director@westsideventura.org and ask her to be added to our mailing list or text messages so that you get this information, not after the workshop happened, but before. The reason we wanted to share this with you tonight is because we will have another opportunity later in the year where we may have a bigger workshop here at Bell Arts, not at the business. Thank you. Well, I know from personal, I had one of my girls attend, and she's a sophomore in high school. Una de mis niñas fue y está en el segundo año de la preparatoria, tiene como unos 16 años, aunque sé que es para niños maduros de edades teens, ya, empezando de los 13 hacia arriba y sí, niños y niñas incluso. Thank you, Marco. I'm going to try to hurry. I know I'm taking a little bit longer. My apologies. Voy a tratar de hacer mi fluidez más rápida. Ya sé que no tenemos toda la noche. De hecho, tenemos este programa. En inglés se conoce como pura Avenida Makerspace y proporcionamos una colaboración con la organización STEM Ambassadors, que proporciona diferentes manualidades en tecnología. Está aquí por la avenida al cruzar la calle de la licorería Red Barn. Para cualquier persona que tenga un estudiante en el Distrito Unificado de Ventura, no tienen que pagar los $100 mensuales que se piden. Yo sé que es una cifra alta para muchos, sin embargo, la calidad de instrucción, la calidad de hábitos que pueden aprender y de hecho empezar sus propios negocios y realmente hacer algo con eso que aprenden en este centro es invaluable y es muy divertido. We have another program at Makerspace in partnership with STEM Ambassadors. That's STEM Ambassadors is across the street from Red Barn Liquor. Anybody attending or anybody that has a friend with a student at Ventura Unified School District, please know that the $100 fee is covered for that student. I know that that's a very high number for a lot of us. However, it is covered for VUSD students, and the quality of instruction as well as the quality to access machinery in tech and learn those skills really is invaluable. It's a program where we partner teens with hand-picked mentors for a total of, I want to say 8 weeks as well. I'm sorry, we don't have it up here. But the teens start together in a type of cohort and grow and learn. We also, through this program, are able to sponsor 80 Westside teens in helping with their annual membership. We just had the first cohort complete this program and look forward to many more cohorts getting through it because it really is amazing what they're doing over there. If you get a chance to go check it out sometime, please do. Jalen, the manager, is a wonderful young man. Thank you.
Some of the products that are being made there are being sold in downtown. So the kids are coming up with a creation and then developing it and then selling it in our city. And it's really cool because the stores like EcuGreen, they keep their products year round. So you can actually go head into EcuGreen if you're shopping downtown and check out some of the stuff that our local Westside students have come up with. It's really cool.
Algo que quiero mencionar es de que todos los productos que son creados, manipulados aquí en este centro, son vendidos en diferentes negocios en nuestra área del centro, aquí en la ciudad, en Main Street. Y en realidad son ni productos, vienen siendo obras de arte que la verdad están pero lindísimas. Y es muy fácil de mirar si uno de estos estudiantes se pone listo, en realidad puede hacer algo con las habilidades que se les enseñan aquí. Por ejemplo, imprimen camisetas, gorras, proporcionan logos en tazas para los cafés, les pueden hacer calcomanías, hacen unas manualidades de arte con sartenes de maderas tan bonitas en formas geométricas. Es increíble y espero que vayan y lo visiten algún día. Gracias. Yeah, thank you.
Go ahead.
One more. Just an FYI, I've got a whole bunch of city numbers here, street sweeping, graffiti, potholes, sidewalks, all kinds of stuff. So if you didn't get numbers when they were presented and you want them, come on over after the meeting and we can give them to you.
So you guys can look under your hats, whoever has WCC in their tree class to whatever 30.
There you go.
La señorita Casey Rodríguez fue la ganadora de nuestro premio de Starbucks. Gracias, señora Casey.
Congratulations, Casey. Okay, so our last and final, it'll be quick, is just an announcement of the upcoming Westside Fiesta, and that'll be presented by our board member, Marco Cuevas.
tag me, and I promise I'll be quick. Thank you all for sticking around to the end of this meeting. You know, a lot of it's all informational. Some of it's some heavier, serious stuff. You know, hear the great work going on from our partner organization, the Westside Community Council. This is a great segue. So hopefully this is more of a fun announcement than a presentation. Next slide. I'm not going to read this, but this is the missions of our two organizations. So the Westside Community Council and the Westside Community Development Corporation are partnering on this event that we're calling the Westside Fiesta. So if you want right now, get out your phones, mark September 16th, save the date. Next slide. So the Westside Community, the WCDC, I'll just shorten it. This is the third year that they're going to do Taco Week, and we thought it'd be perfect to have a big event on that week, September 16th. So the week itself will run from the 14th to the 17th. And basically we want to feature our local businesses, our local taco shops, or anyone basically that makes the tacos. Some dessert tacos I've heard, even Indian or soy makes a taco. So that's basically the theme of this week. And we thought that we'd have a major event on the WCC side. We wanted to put forth sort of a bigger event, community-based event to celebrate our community's culture and our rich history. Next slide. So just a timeline on what we've been working on this year. So annually, the city of Ventura puts out a special event grant that anyone can apply for. So basically it's $10,000, not all, it's not $10,000 each. We had to get that clarified. It's up to $10,000 total for organizations. Sometimes it's the St. Patrick's Day parade gets that money, I've heard, just as one example. So we thought we'd try to put our hat in the ring to see if we can get some grant funding, because it's quite pricey to put on these types of events. And while it doesn't cover, say, like, you know, if we wanted to order food or something, it covers the application fees, permit fees, park fees, such as renting the park itself. So we don't actually receive this money, but basically back in May, we submitted for this application and we were awarded $1,000 in grant funding a month later after a committee that the city put together. So we don't actually receive this $1,000. It'll just cover our expenses for when we apply for the grant. And we'll be submitting the application itself officially, formally, to have this event by the end of this week. And obviously today we're announcing it to the public. So please help spread the word. September 16th. Next slide. So just wanted to give a quick visual. Who doesn't love a nice visual? We want to host it at Kellogg Park. So next slide, probably be a better representation. So this is a sample map, hopefully that we can get approved. We want to close off Kellogg Street would be the idea in order to fit more parking. I know parking is an issue there. We're looking at other surrounding areas to be able to accommodate parking, because hopefully this will be a relatively big event for, I mean, anyone can come to it. Hopefully if you live locally, you'll just walk or bike or something, but anyone in the city, other people outside the city. So basically, I would sum it up in three things. We'll have our local food featured, our local restaurants. We'll have music. We'll try to get local musicians. So if you know anyone that may be interested in performing the entertainment piece that we'll have at the amphitheater at Kellogg Park, please let us know. And then obviously you saw our numbers for funding earlier. We're trying to hopefully get a fundraiser out of this to at least cover our expenses. Break even is the goal this year, and more details on that will come forward. But right now we're just trying to announce it. Next slide. And I'm going to pass it over to Yvonne for this slide for the call to action.
Hey guys, thank you so much. We are so excited to be helping at Taco Week because I get to dress like a taco. And we are seeking event sponsors. This is an event that primarily we are disseminating information about what our sister organizations provide, services, resources, and that is Westside Community Council as well as Westside Community Development Corporation. If any of you know of any business that's interested in sponsoring the event, we could really use the assistance. as the grant really is only barely going to cover operational costs. And we know how to put events, but we can't do it without funds. So we're hoping that a sponsor comes through. Please give them our number, Helen's information, and we'll be in contact with them. We will have this event Thursday, September the 14th, ending Sunday, September the 17th. The event provided by WCC, however, will be Saturday the 16th at Kellogg Park, starting from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. Both organizations will be there to answer any questions. If you know of any youth that may need volunteer credit hours to graduate, please send them on over. You can put them in contact with me, and I have my contact information ready to pass out. And we'll provide snacks and a t-shirt, WCC t-shirt possibly for everyone that volunteers. And we'll also provide them with school forms as needed. We also are seeking prize donations and or gift card donations of any kind and any amount. We are hosting a raffle, the details to be disseminated at a much later date. But it'll be a traditional raffle with tickets, and we'll pull numbers and announce the winners the day of this event on the 16th. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you there. Gracias, se me olvidó. Tendremos, ya muchos de ustedes saben que el evento será el jueves. En la semana del taco empieza el jueves 14 de septiembre, se acaba el 17 de septiembre, pero el evento que tenemos como WCC para proporcionar toda la información de todo lo que hacemos, los programas que tenemos, estaremos allí con mesa, y también cualquier persona que quizás tenga una conexión con una empresa o negocio grande que quisiera proporcionar ayuda para patrocinar este evento que tiene que ver con la salud mental de nuestra comunidad y con los recursos que tenemos, que proporcionamos en las oficinas. Si quieran apoyar a esta comunidad, no duden en ponerlos en contacto ya sea conmigo, con la señora Helen. Y voluntarios, quizás si tienen un joven que ocupe horas de voluntario para la escuela, específicamente la preparatoria, nosotros los cuidaremos, les proporcionaremos aperitivos, y también si ocupan una forma o una declaración de las horas que trabajaron para recibir ese crédito, se les dará. Gracias.
All right. Yes, questions. So the Oxnard Salsa Festival has been canceled now for 3 years in a row. And I know there's a huge wanting of musical entertainment. Is it working? Yeah, okay. Especially some Latino music such as cumbia, salsa, bachata, and some merengue probably. And just so folks know, in Ventura, you know, Ventura is home to numerous Latin artists. We have some of the top Latin artists in Los Angeles living in Ventura. The actual DJ of the Los Angeles Downtown Salsa Festival lives in Montalvo, and he's totally open to doing things in Ventura. The only thing is, when we're talking about bringing in some professional talent, you know, it is probably we're going to have to pay some of them, but I just want to put it out there that if there is a way to find funding for this, we have some incredible talent that could really enrich the community. And I think one thing that is really noticeable in Ventura for me is that, you know, our community is now 30 to 40% Latino, and very little of the funded musical events in Ventura reflect the Latino culture at all. And I think that this could possibly be a precedent where we begin to change that. And so if there are opportunities for funding, you know, I know a lot of those folks, and I'm happy to work with you guys to try to resolve that. But I think we could really begin to change the culture around a lot of the arts funding that seems to always go to, no offense, because my parents love all this music, but more classic rock type of stuff, right? But I think that you know, Latinos and people who like Latino music are paying a lot of taxes in this city, and I think that we should try to make sure that some of the funding goes towards that as well. So that's my soapbox, and I'm happy to work with you guys on that. I have a lot of connections in the community, and I know board members of the Oxnard Salsa Festival and everything. So just let me know. Okay.
Appreciate
you.
that. Thank you so much. Yeah, we will definitely be reaching out to you. Thank you for providing that insight on the opportunity that there is to fill. I mean, I love rock music, but I think obviously we're trying to fill a different gap here, basically. And I think the city saw that when we applied for this grant funding for the type of thing that we're trying to do. So I definitely think a lot of us are sharing the same vision on this, and we'll definitely be reaching out to get your assistance for this. Thank you. Saturday, September 16th. It is Mexican Independence Day, coincidentally. Yes, I'll try to be inclusive of more people as I understand more. Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you very much, Marco. All right, well, now we've reached almost the end. We're pretty much there. Any new business announcements? I'll reopen the public comment period. I have no new business for us today. Are you raising your hand, miss, or are you? Okay, just stretching. Oh, Trevor has a comment. Come up here and get your 15 minutes of fame.
Guys. Hi, Trevor Gottsman here. I'm on Franklin Lane, just past Stanley. I go to city council meetings and I ask city council, as most of us do, to take care of our community, to build the community, incorporate us all. We're all integral in everything. We're all different. We're all unique. And it's the little ones that are the ones that we are here for, as well as for ourselves. We've got to take care of ourselves. And so I feel what we need to try and do as much as possible is introduce ourselves, not be shy, show ourselves, have some sort of identification that, when you're driving a car, you got a registration, you show your ID, but a lot of us are very shy. We want our privacy. We want to hide behind it. And I said, this creates that separation, but we've got to keep our boundaries. We've got to know what our boundaries are. And that one way we can do that, I feel, is check on each other, because I feel I can do almost anything I like, but I have to look to him, and he doesn't read signs. He doesn't communicate with enough people sometimes to keep me from going outside my boundaries and hurting somebody or upsetting somebody or making somebody fearful. And at the same time, that person who's fearful may need somebody like one of you to show, no, he's okay. He just looks funny. He just smells funny because this is where he goes. This is what he does. And then we can learn and understand why he looks that way, why he smells that way. What is it that makes him like that? And then we have that realization, and then we know. And that's what I feel, if we all get to a place where we can know enough to begin trusting each other again, to know the truth and to keep that, and then to remind those that are still closed behind their doors and still hiding and still fearful, to know that's not the whole truth. And in fact, sometimes it's the opposite. And so from my point of view, it's very important that we build community, but it really is the younger ones. And so I think whatever we do, we should try and incorporate as much as possible the whole community and I know as a parent, you know, I was one of those kids, my poor kids say, Dad, you don't see yourself. And they're not in town. I try to bring them to town. And hopefully they will come maybe September 16th. My son's getting married in October. So maybe he'll come and sort of risk it and sort of make sure I get to his wedding. But anyway, we live in a place that I truly feel can show the whole globe. We live in this Goldilocks zone. We really live in a wonderful place. However things, you know, we're at the forefront of so much and we're not aware of it a lot of the time. We're just sort of, I had a dream the other day that said, beware the tourists, beware the tourists. And I realized afterwards, you know, it's like the indigenous people, the Chumash that we speak of. These are our, in a sense, we're guests in ancestral land. But at the same time, what has happened? I grew up 6,000 miles away on the southern end but in a very similar place. And it feels like that's the mother. And this has drifted and we're the kids. And now we're sort of digging in the sand and we're digging in the dirt. And we're the tourists in a way, but if we're not following our true path and being honest with it and respecting everything around us, then we are the tourists. And that's what we've got to be aware of. We want to be those that we are the creatures that inhabit this community and make up the community. So that's what I want to say. 30,000 trees, that's one for every 4 of us, more or less. Let's keep watering them, keep growing, and keep tending them. And this is what I feel, and this is what my ancestors and all of our ancestors, we've got them there. We inherit everything. This moment we brought ourselves to, we've chosen our path, and we pass it all on. So while we got this choice, let's apply it in a way that we can all sleep in peace. Thank you.
That's a beautiful way to end the meeting, assuming we don't have any other comments, any questions in the time that I'm walking over to check Zoom. I'm going to nothing. All right, fantastic. So just a reminder, we are not meeting in August. We are out for summer. And I expect to see everybody back in September. So meeting adjourned. Thank you all very much.